and then lost track of him over the years. In 2008, something triggered me to see if he was still alive, and I read his obituary, and 4 synchronicities jumped right out at me. His name was Harry. My father's name was Harry. His wife's name was Barbara Helen. My mother-in-law's name was Helen. His daughter's name was Anne Elizabeth Hunt. My wife's name was Anne Elizabeth. My mother's maiden name was Hunt. Now, you take 4 synchronicities in one little obituary, that's pretty bizarre. But when you tie it into high-level CIA, it's off the charts.
Well, thank you, Hugh, and
I'll continue listening. And again, congratulations on coming back and Bill's book. I hope it will do very well. It's very much needed the way he's describing the contents of it. So good luck with that.
Thank you. Yes.
And is this you? We'll have to see who all has joined us, but thank you, Hugh, and come back and see us one Saturday night, and we'll open up on the open walk on the last hour for people such as yourself. Keep up the good work for whistleblowers and our veterans, the bill that Trump signed, and keep us aware of all the stuff that we just don't have a lot of time to cover, but we'll try to have you on for maybe a 5-minute brief on veterans.
Yeah, you have my number, so just
December
give me a
12th.
call sometime. Are you still in Kentucky, or did you relocate?
Oh, no, I've been living in Hawaii, not Hawaii. I've been living in Florida.
Okay,
since
well,
Tom
your daughter
died.
down there.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah. Well, actually, she lives with me. I had to get a place, and anyway, that's a whole thing.
Yeah,
but
that's all
thank
right.
you
I'll
for
let you
joining
go.
us tonight. All right, thank you, Hugh, and
God
keep
bless
us involved
everyone.
with
And I say,
VA.
if you can't do anything else, you can say a prayer that will raise the consciousness, no matter what faith you're in. Just pray for mankind. God will put the ego in check where it needs to be.
Thank you, Hugh Charleston. Great message. Thank you for joining us tonight on TJ Morris ET Radio and American Communications Online. This has been Hugh Charleston. Okay, thank you. And Bill, back to you. How about that? You did have an old timer that came back in, and I'll have to get you back on here. There, can you hear me, Bill?
Yes, I hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
That was great. I had to say I definitely agree with you about the whole love thing. In fact, I talked about that in the open walk. As you recall, TJ, there was an article I wrote about what I call catharinosis. And
that was one of my favorites. I did. We crossed yes, it was. It's not really an anthology, but it's a chapter. And yes, so you may want to. I don't know, folks, how much of you remember us, but apparently we have some old-timers, our military veterans, and Hugh Charleston is like, I guess you could say, the initial leader of our AMVETS and our whistleblower groups out there with the military, and he keeps, he's very prolific at writing, as is Bill. So he may remember catharinosis, but why don't you explain it, because it sounds so Hindu.
Odd you should say that, because both those words actually come of Greek origin. but kathari is it's actually in our language the word catharsis comes from it, but originally in Greek, kathari means to purify, and then gnosis also comes from Greek, and that is spiritual knowledge. We're getting some kind of echo. What's going on? You know?
I don't know. Oh, it's probably Hugh. Yeah, I thought he was off. I apologize. Is it not Hugh? Now can you hear me, Bill? There's echo on my end. I don't understand. Well, can you hear me, Bill? Oh, I'm turning on. Bill, can you hear me? I can see you're on. Oh, okay, I got it. What it was Hugh was on and you were off. I don't know how you both got on and then he got off and you got on and vice versa. Can you hear me now, Bill?
I hear you. I heard you the whole time, but you didn't hear me. Do you still have me muted, or did you unmute?
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness, folks, I'm sorry. I'm a little rusty, Hugh and Bill and everybody out there listening to me. Please give me a little slack. I am a veteran, so I appreciate everybody for your service. But I'm having a 67-year-old birthday, 12/26, and I'm a little rusty behind the scenes being the producer, director, and technician. And okay, back with you, Bill M. Tracer, The Opened Walk. And I did warn Bill I was going to maybe flip on people from time to time. So I did give you a fair warning. So back to you, Bill. Now, The Open Walk and Catharinosis, please.
Right, and you do hear me now, right?
I do.
You hear me now?
Thank you, Sprint, and all those people that I love that. Can you hear me now? Because we've all used it in communication.
Okay.
I forgot who owned the tag. I really can't tell you which company because the guy that does the commercials, he swapped companies. Were you aware of that?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, I think they allow him to use his real name now, or either his first name. But anyway, one of them used to be Sprint, I think. I don't know who the other one was. Do you? What company?
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's okay. All you people that follow us individually by name and internet, and then you guys go ahead and glorify the advertising that we don't want to see out there and here. Please note that I can remember Sprint, but I can't remember the other guy. Whoever it wasn't AT&T, so it wasn't Consumer Cellular, but one of those. All right, T-Mobile maybe. I don't know. Okay, Bill, go for it. Catharinosis.
Okay. Well, I guess the Cathari is it means to purify, and in fact, there was a religion or a what would you call it? I guess with today's terminology, we could say a denomination that before the Protestant Reformation, the Cathars broke off from the Catholic Church, and they didn't fare well, though. The Catholics kind of did them wrong.
Now, I've forgotten some of my history. Tell me, were the Cathars before the Masons and before the...
They were before the Reformation, like the 11th century, in fact, in France and in Italy, and they called themselves the Cathars because they considered what they believed a purified version of the Catholic Christianity. So the Cathari means to purify. Gnosis means the knowledge of the infinite or knowledge of God, knowledge of spiritual things, of spiritual realms. So Catharinosis is purified spiritual knowledge. Now, the idea is that you can never really get there. It's one of those kind of things like, what would they call it? The paradox. What was that guy's name? Zeno's paradox. It was the idea that you can get closer and closer to your goal, but you can never really get there. Using that principle of, okay, I go halfway, and then I'm halfway there. Then I go half of that, and I'm basically 3/4 the way there. Then I go half that, and it just keeps splitting the distance in half. But even when you do that, you can get really, really close, but you can never really get to that destination as long as you keep just splitting your journey in half. And that was Zeno's paradox. Well, it's kind of similar with this whole idea of Catharinosis, in that you can get progressively closer and closer, but can you really get to truly purified spiritual knowledge, or perfectly purified? That's questionable. But we can get closer, so we just keep getting closer, and that's good, and that's what we need to do. So that's what the idea with this is. And as I do my own Catharinosis analysis of spirituality, you get closer and closer, and you can kind of look at it like a pyramid. I mean, you remember what I call the pyramid of Catharinosis.
Yes, and you had a logo brand. Did you use that in your book? Yes.
I've got a whole chapter, actually 2 chapters, devoted to Catharinosis in this book, and that pyramid leads us up to the ultimate truth, and that's where Hugh and I are very much in harmony, because love is at the top of that pyramid. It's at the top point. That's what it's all about for all of us. To strive to get there, to be able to truly love, and love unconditionally. And if we do that, then we're not going to be killing other people. We're not going to be murdering anyone, unlike what this person in the chat room has said. It was very, very wrong about a lot of things. And that kind of distressed me when I was reading some of that stuff just moments ago. But
speaks German,
do what?
He speaks German. The eye of the universe speaks German.
He's saying some pretty bad stuff here. And you know, while I may agree that you know, our country's not perfect, but that doesn't keep us from being patriotic about our country and striving to make it better. You know, we're kind of having some problems right now. We got a lot of conflict going on politically in our country, and but I have faith that ultimately those things can be resolved. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. Like you said, you know, it may require some litigation. It may require some harsh justice for a few people, but
it's coming. It's coming.
That's right.
But, you know, folks, we all have perceptions. And when you get people together, we tend to be harsh and quick to point the finger. And maybe some of us know what we're talking about. Maybe we don't. Because a lot of what happens is hearsay. Is it not, Bill? It's perceptions, but it's based on the information, just like you said about writing your book, is the fact that people love first, folks. I mean, that brings us together. But regardless of people whether they believe in all the books, the stories, depending on how they were translated correctly, we're talking tonight with Bill M. Tracer, who is an author of several books, including Will the Internet Achieve Sentience, and also The Opened Walk, OPENED. And he's a wonderful, kind person and been in the Mid-South Conference as an author and artist for many, many years, and has shown not only does he walk his talk, but he can now talk his walk right here with me on Theresa J Morris Radio.
That's a good one.
So,
good. And you were talking about perceptions. That reminded me, in my book, I do a lot with little charts and tables and things, you know, so I really think those kind of things help people understand stuff. And I came up with what I call the perception trio. You may recall we talked about this in some of our past radio shows. But you got perceptions, you got misperceptions, and you got deceptions. And that's really, you know, we have to be careful about the way we perceive the world, because we have all three of those. You know, and not all of them are true. Perceptions, that's what we see and we understand, and that's good. But there are misperceptions, and that's when we misunderstand something about which we are mistaken. And then there's the deceptions. Those are lies that we believe, self-imposed sometimes imposed upon us by others. But they are illusions and that we accept. And those are things that we need to be careful to try to filter out of our lives. Try not to buy into those deceptions. You know, and there's an awful lot of that going on right now in our politics too. And a lot of misperceptions as well. So we got all three of those, and that's the challenge. You know, one of the challenges in our lives is to separate those, to try to filter them apart, and discover what is a misperception, what's a deception, and what are genuine perceptions. You know, we have the same kind of thing going on with information, misinformation, and disinformation, another one of my trios. And then there's the interpretation and the misinterpretation, and the other one, it sounds different, but delusions. so the flow is a little different there, but it's still the same idea. And all these trios, they're part of what's going on all the time, and it really is a challenge for us to try to keep in mind, you know, what is a true perception, what is real information, what is a genuine interpretation of something, and try to focus on those things and filter out those mis and dis versions of those things, because those aren't going to get you anywhere. Those are just going to lead you astray. The information